Friends, how are you doing? We need to talk about Palantir because we are about to see another historic event take place with this company. They're still getting deals. Can you believe this? They're still getting deals. For people that are betting against Palantir, I really feel bad for them because it's just not going well for them. So, we had a crazy week in the market last week. We were doing well. Then, of course, the whole Trump tweet, China tariff thing. We've been here, done this, seen this. What's going to happen? Something may happen. Something may not happen. And the market will go, okay, well, we're tired of waiting. And we're going to plow back up into high numbers here. Plus, we've got quarterlies starting Monday on out. Really Tuesday. And then, well into the beginning of November. And then, potential rate cut here at the end of the month of October. So, Palantir will be reporting quarterlies here around November 3rd. We're being at the estimation right now. So that's what we know. Essentially 20 days, maybe 19 days, wherever you're watching me yap my gums here about this video. But this is key moment. This will obviously be another historic quarterly for them. And it's already a situation where, we've got, investment firms saying, they're expecting Palantir to hit 1 billion. And two, Palantir, just locked up another deal. So this is really crazy. And, this is just an ongoing thing. And two, we only hear about the deals that are worthy of talking about, that are press release, but there's a bunch of other, obviously, little, deals that are in there that we just don't know about. So these big ones really set the tone for like what is coming. In this newest one here, like they just signed this partnership with Boeing like 2-3 weeks ago at this point. Now there's this other one. And with that, those are things that probably won't really be on this next quarterly, this Q3. They'll be on Q4. So this is why, things just keep getting more aggressive, and why, people are paying such a high premium for this stock right now, and why it just keeps going. There's different tidbits of what you're paying for right now with Palantir. You're paying for FOMO, you're paying for what if, you're paying for evaluation here on into maybe the next year or two. It's obviously highly evaluated, priced up essentially. But two, with that, they're still backing up a lot of what's going on. They're still actively getting a lot of deals. They're still actively coming out with aggressive quarterlies. And, it's turning into be something very wild here. So, looking at this candlestick chart right now, look at these two big dips right here where we've seen Palantir in the past 2 weeks. So that first big red dip right there, that was when all that article broke. A lot of articles broke that Palantir, somebody said something that their software was having trouble on the battlefield, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, it was just an excuse for Wall Street to sell it. Boom. People bought right back in, ran it up to 180 plus. And then, Friday here, we had another market. Everything dropped Friday. So it's not really to say this was just an organic sell-off. This was just a, Trump set out a tweet, and here we are now. So I think we look at this right now, and you can either view this one or two ways, where you go, maybe this is the last moment to really jump into SoFi before things get a lot more crazy. And I think it's pretty safe to say, a lot of people are probably very bullish on this next quarterly. Palantir sold back down to this 175 closing out Friday. And it, obviously it was at it's a $10 sell off because all of Friday it was pretty much trading around, 185, 186. And when we saw this happen here, it still 175 is very high, extremely high. So that is setting the tone for what you're getting right now. It's saying that, like, if that's the worst we can see right now, I don't know that people will really, something devastating is going to have to happen for people if you're like holding out for like, I think I can get it at 140, 150. I don't know about that. 160 would be a dream come true for people that are wanting to still get in here at the right moment for whatever swing trade, long trade, whatever. But, I don't know, Friday was a pretty devastating moment for a lot of people in the market. And it kind of told us too, obviously I don't want to shine light on people that, because there's people that had a bad day Friday. Obviously, I get that, especially people that were doing option trading, betting, however they were betting for something, obviously betting for it. But, the thing too with this is that, Palantir is very much in this cycle of just growth that is not stopping. It is unbelievable. And it's been like this for the past 2 years, and it keeps getting more aggressive each year. This is why, it continues to define all normal logic of what normal investors think of what it can do. And this is why Wall Street, for a long time, highly against Palantir with the aggressive growth pattern. But you had people out here like Dan Ives, especially speaking the praise of Palantir, saying he thinks this is just we're like in second, third gear at this point, and there's still a lot more gears to go with where Palantir is going to go. And I seem to think that Palantir, not that I'm anybody special here, but I really changed my mindset on Palantir this year yet again, where I look at it and I go, I think Palantir is just going to be one of these, nickel companies that are solid, just, concrete in the ground, where they are going to be, just a pillar statement of the stock market, and it's just what it is. And I don't know that can actually produce the right price tag on it. If you're wanting what is the right price tag on Palantir, this time next year, could we be talking about Palantir at 300? Could we be talking about Palantir at 250? Could we be talking about Palantir at 500? There's a lot of people with a lot of crazy price points of what they think Palantir is going to be. If Palantir continues to cycle up into, what we're seeing each year, it cycles over what it's already done. It keeps double going into this triple momentum of what it's been doing, where we're seeing it just, every quarterly. The last quarterly was 48% on top of the last one. This next one, is it going to be 49, 50%? The last quarterly Q2 there was $1 billion plus. This one's obviously going to be $1 billion plus. Are we about to see a $1.5 billion quarterly with Palantir? It's possible. It's really possible. What is the right price action with that? Look at like something like Tesla. Things don't have to make sense in the market. They can just be, they can have actual high evaluation on them, but still be highly manipulated. I think that's pretty safe to say with a lot of stocks right now, especially in the AI bubble. And when talking about Palantir is at the very top of the AI bubble right now, where everyone's looking at it. And some people have just, they've taken the loss on it and they've just jumped in maybe at, 130, 140, 150, 160, maybe 170. You're like, I'm just going to get into this thing. If this is the lowest I can see right now, I'm just going to jump in. But too, with that, the chart is telling us, the chart is looking to run here. We've just had two minor setbacks here, with this first one being that just ridiculous news cycle that got broke into the public here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Wall Street sold it off. Then it was pumping right back up, looking for a 190 position. It looked like we were about to get there. Then Trump tweeted this. So Palantir is looking to run more aggressively. It's looking for this $190, $200 range. It's trying to get there. But more than likely, around November, before and after this quarterly, we will see some numbers with Palantir that are going to shock us once again, especially if we see 1 point whatever with the number of the quarterly that, obviously billion, 1 point, billion plus whatever it's going to be here. So I just, I find it hard when people are not believing the hype, and it's really a situation of, what people are arguing now about what the AI bubble is, and I totally get that, but you have to look at every 5-10 years there is a new company that just steps in. They just step in. Look at Nvidia, where Nvidia was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Nvidia was a very well-known, popular company. They were making around $5 to $10 billion quarterlies, and that was a lot. There were people that were just totally happy with that. And Nvidia's had other stock splits over the past years. It wasn't just that one that they went through last year. Nvidia's been a great company, but there's different tiers of greatness. That's the thing you really have to think about. There's different moments of greatness. Palantir could just be going through this moment of, man, they're making $1 billion quarterly. Man, they're making a $3 billion quarterly. Man, oh my gosh, Palantir is finally making a $5 billion quarterly. And then you'll have certain people go, Well, it just can't go past that. Palantir, they can't find more business. There's no way that this company's going to produce, a $10 billion quarterly into the future. There's no way. There's no way their market cap can turn into a $1 trillion market cap. I find it a lot easier to invest when you can follow the goodness of a situation. And right now, Palantir is showing a lot of goodness. These AI stocks are letting you know if they're going to survive or if they're going to run out of steam. And right now, we're not seeing some of them run out of steam. Talking about NVIDIA, NVIDIA still is aggressively growing in quarterlies, and it is mind-blowing to think about that. Palantir is just now in this very baby stage of where it's at producing these billion-dollar quarterlies, but this could highly get more aggressive at a very fast rate. I'm really excited to see, and I can't even imagine what we're about to see happen here in 2026, 2027. A lot of people are, and I'm one of them, where I am saying this could be a stock split sooner than people think. I imagine by 2027, summer of 2027, at that point in time, has Palantir been able to continue with capturing business? There's still going to be contracts they have now that are going until then. Can Palantir start producing $2, $3, $4, $5 billion quarterlies in a very short time span here? Can they start leapfrogging into more aggressive quarterlies? It's very possible. We've seen companies do this. Is there a conversation by that time frame in 2027 where Palantir is such an aggressive stock price? Are we past 500? Are we in $700 range? Has the AI bubble collapsed? Has it exploded? Maybe the first one did explode, and now it's gone into the new bubble of maybe software robotics, where the next AI bubble is where it's forming here. I don't necessarily believe this situation of, well, the AI bubble is going to pop and then all AI stocks are just going to be toast. They're going to be done. I don't really believe that, because we're not seeing that with a lot of AI companies. A lot of them are still producing pretty good quarterlies and finding business, even talking about data centers, for God's sakes. Look what Applied Digital just did. Insanity. So there is this new place for a lot of AI companies where they're just kind of saying yeah, we're just here. We're going to keep growing. We don't know when we're going to lose steam. We're not looking to lose steam. And we're still producing very aggressive quarterlies. And Palantir is still in that moment right there. So 22 days under that, wherever you're watching this, this is at the end of that, when that gets to zero, we're probably going to see Palantir at all new price levels. And that's going to be very shocking and very eye-opening of where we could go to by Q4. That's what's crazy. There's still another quarterly to end out 2025 here. That is wild. That is super wild, friends. So, I can't say enough good things about. I'm not going to speak negative about it. You know me. I'm drinking the juice on Palantir. I would highly expect that next year with Palantir, we will start to hear more about Salesforce. We will start to hear about new avenues that Palantir is looking into. You're already seeing this with a lot of tech stocks right now. The ones that are doing very well have capital, a lot of capital, and that are just kind of, they can do what they want to do. They're starting to transfer into other AI companies, working with them, building on top of each other. This is things that we are seeing right now aggressively with AI companies. So Palantir could be in that conversation next year where they start to partner with bigger AI companies. And that too will be great, because that will be new avenues of wealth that, obviously. So yeah, it's wild to watch this. It is absolutely wild to watch a company that, and like I said, every cycle of the stock market, every 5-10 years, there's a new cycle of new companies that just come out of nowhere and just really shock. And if you're in the market, you probably already know those companies. That's why I said NVIDIA is such a great example, because 5 years ago, a lot of people, we saw NVIDIA. They were doing great 5 years ago, and we knew about the Blackwell chip and all, and what they were doing. They were more considered like a video game, chip company at that point. But Even at that moment, they were producing fantastic business model, quarterlies, everything. But now they have just gone into this new tier system. So think about it that way. There's just these tier systems with a lot of companies, especially these AI companies, because they're breaking all boundaries of what people think is normal and can be done in the stock market. So Palantir here could enter into a whole new tier system within a year or two from now. By the end of 2026, it's interesting to see, is Palantir going to be the ultimate, company that is broken off into the world, very into Europe, very into, every continent, how far can they go here, pushing into business? Now, obviously, the United States government has them very locked down, but, I'm sure they're going to work, and they're going to take money from who they can, who they feel confident that they can work with, but not just that, with, defense agencies, countries, but companies as well. So we're seeing this. They're in the private sector, defense, everything. I mean, it's crazy. It is absolutely wild. Friends, I want to wish all of you the best of luck out there. Let's see what happens with the stock market this week. This could just be a normal episode that we've seen here before. Oh my God, tragic, days of our lives kind of thing. And then nothing really happens with this tariff thing. I don't know. The market may just go like, hey, we're not going to wait around. We're going to start running here, and investors take back the market. So that could be what we're just about to go into here. I don't know. Friends, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.